We just went through the off-meta or underrated ARs a few days ago, so today we're gonna do the same thing for SMGs. In the last video, we gave you alternatives to the Kilo, the Krig, and the LK or KN, and in this video, we're gonna give you other guns to try besides the SMGs from the top 10. And one thing I saw in the comments of the last video was, where's the AS Val? Or why isn't the AS Val here? Well, Zibros, a resident researcher, tried to answer the majority of the comments for me. The AS Val is more like an alternative to the CBR4 than any other AR in the list. And it actually is. It's loved mostly by S&D players since it has sound suppression without having to put any attachments for it. The time to kill is great with 225 milliseconds up to 20 meters. What holds it back a bit is its bullet velocity, which is pretty slow in comparison to Krig. It makes the AS Val pretty random at some point, especially after about 20 to 25 meters. The mobility is close to what we have on the CBR4 and it's definitely a good alternative that you can try. Now back to real SMGs, the AGR 556 is also a great alternative to the CBR4. It has 240 milliseconds of 4-shot time to kill up to 20 meters and 320 milliseconds of 5-shot time to kill up to 29 meters, which is pretty close in terms of shot to kill to the CBR4. The mobility and the BSA are better than what we have on the CBR4, but where the CBR4 really makes a difference is on how easy it is to use, the recoil, the mag size, the reload speed, and the ADS speed are way better, which makes it easier to use in general. The time to kill is also slightly faster, which can make the difference in gunfights. But it's probably one of the best alternatives to the CBR4 apart from the Cordite. Next up, we got the GKS, which can be used as an alternative to the PP19 Bison. It has similar range performance with a potential 200 milliseconds of 3-shot time to kill up to 18 meters, which isn't that hard to achieve, and then 300 milliseconds of 4-shot time to kill up to 40 meters. Mobility stats are pretty close too. What makes it a bit worse? Well, the recoil pattern is pretty weird. The slow fire rate can be an issue when tracking or in close range engagements in general, and it has a way smaller mag size with only 40 bullets. It is definitely a great alternative that you can try if you feel confident in your aim. Now, as an alternative to the QQ9, we have the PPSH-41. The PPSH can 4-shot kill up to 15 meters with 219 milliseconds of time to kill, and then 5-shot up to infinity with 292 milliseconds of time to kill. The mobility is slightly slower, but you can have 65 bullets on it with a faster ADS speed, a better BSA, and mobility performance pretty close. In case you want to use it for S&D, you can decide to use the 35-round mag, which gives you an ADS time of 124 milliseconds, which is as fast as the time you need to fire 3 Fennec shots, or 1/10 of the reload time with this mag. It is crazy fast, but its real negative is its recoil pattern, which is like the OG Peacekeeper recoil pattern, but worse. The BSA is close to what we have on the QQ9, so if you were using it, it shouldn't be an issue at all. Now, a gun we didn't talk about on the channel, the OTS-9. Well, it's actually the best alternative we could give you as a replacement to the QQ9. It has exactly the same range performance with 10 meters of 210 milliseconds of 4-shot time to kill, and 21 meters of 280 milliseconds of 5-shot time to kill. The mobility is almost the same, the BSA too, the fire spread too. The recoil is pretty much a copy of the QQ9 pattern. Then what makes it worse? Well, it has bullet velocity, the 4-shot potential in the second range is worse, and the consistent 4-shot kill range is 5 meters longer for the QQ9. And side note, the QQ9 has the 10mm mag, which literally makes it overpowered, especially with its 3-shot potential in close range. But the OTS-9 is definitely a reliable choice you can use without having to think too much. Next up, a gun that is alone in its category, it's the KSP-45. It can one burst up to 15 meters if you can hit all your 3 shots everywhere except the legs, which is clearly doable, and it will give you 168 milliseconds of time to kill. I'm not gonna talk about it longer since that is its only huge positive point. If you're not comfortable using burst weapons, you will not like it at all, but you can give it a try. Moving on, we got the Lapa. Its main rival would be the QQ9 10mm. The Lapa has 17 meters of consistent 237 milliseconds 4-shot time to kill, with a great 3-shot potential up to 10 meters. The mobility is way faster than what we have on the QQ9. The recoil pattern is pretty easy to control, and the BSA is great for an SMG like this. If it had no downside, it would be in the top 10 list, of course. First of all, it has bullet velocity and a pretty slow one with about 600 meters per second. The iron sight kinda sucks, and the QQ9 has clearly better damages, whether it is at range or in close range when it comes to the 3-shot potential. But I'm not gonna lie, it's probably one of the best choices for S&D as an alternative to the QQ9. Now we have the only alternative to the Switchblade X9 in this list, which is the MX9. They are pretty much the same in terms of mobility, but the MX9 takes a huge lead for the ADS time. But the MX9 only has 12 meters of 210 milliseconds 4-shot time to kill, then 16 meters of 280 milliseconds of 5-shot time to kill, while the Switchblade has the same time to kill but up to 12 and 21 meters, which makes a huge difference after the 16 meter mark. The recoil pattern for the MX9 isn't great, which makes it hard to use. So is the MX9 viable? Definitely, but it is on paper a worse Switchblade with better mobility. We talked about the MSMC about 3 months ago when it got buffed, and well, what we said in it is still up to date today, so I highly recommend you guys to check it out if you want more details. But to summarize, it is a great alternative to the Fennec with overall better handling stats and pretty close range performances. But in close range, it's just harder to use because the Fennec has a way faster fire rate by far, which makes it easier to use in the super close range gunfights. The mobility is better on the side of the MSMC apart from the reload speed, but again, the power of the Fennec resides in its fast fire rate. The MSMC is definitely the best alternative you could find to replace the Fennec, so give it a try. We just said that the power of the Fennec resides in its fire rate. Well, it was partially true, because when you look at the MAC-10, you could think that because it has a faster fire rate, it is better than the Fennec. But when I said that, I didn't mention that it was considering the damages for both the MSMC and the Fennec. Well, that's exactly where the MAC-10 is worse. It is only viable to 15 meters when both MSMC and Fennec were able to fire up to 22 meters. The mobility on the MAC-10 is great, but the BSA really makes it painful to use after 15 meters. Which is also where its damages just falls off. So kinda like the Lapa, I'd recommend you to use it in close range, especially in S&D. And for more details about the MAC-10, you can check the video where we talked about the MSMC, link down below. Lastly, we got the PDW-57. I bet you guys haven't touched this weapon since probably 2 years unless you grinded gold camos for Damascus or Platinum. But actually, kinda like the AGR, it is a great alternative to the CBR4. 17 meters of 240 milliseconds of 4-shot time to kill, 26 meters of 320 milliseconds of 5-shot time to kill, a better mobility, a lower recoil, a better BSA, as much bullets per mag. You may be already thinking that it is a better CBR4, and as I'm saying you these lines, I'm almost questioning if it actually is. But exactly like the AGR 556, the CBR4 has a faster ADS speed, a faster reload speed, and for the aggressive part of the CBR4 playstyle, the PDW is far behind. But after the 20 meter mark, I have to say that it smokes the CBR4, but a Bison would be a better choice in general. It just doesn't fit the meta right now, sadly. But it's not a bad weapon at all, and if the Bison or the CBR4 or Cordite would get nerfed, the AGR and the PDW would definitely be the #1 options. What are your top 3 SMGs in the game right now? Let me know down in the comments below. Now that you got some of the best guns you can use to play aggressive in the game, how about learning the basics of playing aggressive? You can learn all about it right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.